What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another
Past the Mike Sports Talk.
sports podcast.
Sports Podcast.
Today on this episode, we're going to be discussing the top 10 Western Conference seeds. You know, as we said before, there's a little bit of a situation going on. We're approaching the playoffs, All right, so let's jump right into it, not waste any time, So, at the 10th seed, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. Man, they are quite the interesting team, honestly. I got to tell you, ever since Ja Morant hopped onto the track, they honestly, it's kind of weird how they're still the 10th seed. I would have expected them to be a little bit higher, honestly, because, they don't have a bad team. They just have developing players. They have Jaren Jackson Jr., who's an amazing player. He's out, right? That's why I was thinking. Yeah, so that's probably why he's out. They're not doing as good. But I expect as soon as Jaren Jackson Jr. comes back, they're gonna turn it up. They have a pretty good core, good team. So I think that they have a solid future ahead of them.
So, in the 9th seed is the Golden State Warriors. They're 23 and 24. The Warriors are tricky. Klay Thompson, before the season started, got injured with his Achilles. So he's out for the year. And then they traded D'Angelo Russell last season for Andrew Wiggins. So he stepped up for them. Also, Kelly Oubre Jr., whatever his last name is, Jr.
Kelly Oubre
Jr. has also stepped out lately. I know in the beginning of the season he struggled with his shot, but now lately he's picked up his three-point shooting. And obviously their franchise player, Steph Curry, he's been absolutely balling this year. If they had a better record, he would probably be in the top 2 MVP conversation. Curry's Curry, averaging 30, 50% from the three-point line, probably 90% from the free throw line. Curry is going to be Curry with those damn handles of his. And then Draymond has absolutely stepped it up as their team point guard. It's crazy that he's kind of changing the game, Draymond can guard every position. He can also play the point guard position, and he's a very underrated passer. There was a couple of games a couple of weeks ago where he had like 3 straight games of 15 assists and plus. Also, they got a rookie, James Wiseman. I think they made a mistake drafting him. Should have drafted LaMelo Ball.
Oh, yeah, obviously, but
it is what it is. James Wiseman, he's like any other rookie. He has his ups and downs. He's been kind of injured lately with his wrist, I think. He's hit a kind of rookie wall, but all rookies do at some point. But he also has a very high ceiling. They obviously drafted for need, which they needed a center. They needed a center for a very long time already. It's been one of their biggest holes in their roster. So, yeah, James Wiseman just needs to develop. The Warriors are, this was expected, because Klay Thompson's out and Curry just can't do it all,
The next team, 8th seed, is the San Antonio Spurs. Jac said a couple of weeks ago, the Spurs are not really, they bought out LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge on the Nets now, by the way. So congratulations to LaMarcus Aldridge on, probably destroying the NBA. But we'll see what happens there. But the Spurs, yeah, they got DeJounte Murray. They got a good pick this year. So, they're not doing that bad. And again, they're the same thing as the Grizzlies, honestly. They just have to develop, and they're going to be good in a couple of years. Hopefully, if they get some good draft picks and all that, there's nothing really going on with them. So, make the playoffs, don't make the playoffs, it's whatever.
So, coming into the 7th seed is the Dallas Mavericks with 25 and 21. Dallas Mavericks are one of the rising teams of the NBA, obviously with Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis.
Fuck Kristaps.
I'm sorry for all the Knicks fans. Luka is probably the top 3 point guard in the league, averaging 30 and 10 and literally 8 rebounds a game. And he's 6'7", which is he's basically Magic Johnson with better handles, honestly. And then you got Kristaps. Kristaps, he kind of started off slow, obviously with the knee injury that he suffered during the playoffs last season. He was like in some trade rumors, but I didn't believe in that. I didn't think Dallas was going to trade him. Kristaps, if he can stay healthy, he's already proven to be an all-star during his time with the Knicks. But he just needs to stay healthy. He's basically an athletic version of Dirk Nowitzki, a tall version too. He's 7'3" with like nearly an 8-foot wingspan, so he brings it defensively. He can shoot from anywhere, from the 3-point line, around the rim. So, but the thing with the Dallas Mavericks is, outside of those two, there's really not much anybody that can help him. Yes, there's Tim Hardaway Jr. He can bring it. He can give you 15 points a game.
JJ Redick.
All newly acquired JJ Redick. But those guys I see them as role players and not starters. They need to get more help for Luka and Kristaps down there. They need to get, I think, a small forward. They need a center or a power forward. Maybe Kristaps can move to the center position to play to give other defenses trouble because he can spread the floor. So, yeah. So, Dallas is also, they haven't been great, but they also don't have a lot of great depth, and I think that's what's hurting them.
Before we move on, quick pointer about the Dallas Mavericks. I hope that they somehow end up in the 15th seed because I'm trying to get a top 3 pick for the Knicks because the Knicks got their pick this year, and I hope that obviously Luka Doncic is my guy. Wish him all the best, and Kristaps Porzingis. Look what you're missing out. I'm just telling you, look what you're missing out, bro. He's gonna regret that decision when the Knicks win in 2 years. Anyways, next up we got at the 6th seed we got the Trailblazers. Bro, it's boring, bro. It's boring. The Trailblazers, come on, bro. You guys have been doing the same stuff every single year. Always make it to the playoffs. Always make a crazy thing. Like everybody's like, oh my god, they're gonna win this year. They're gonna win this year. And then, bro, you guys don't do anything. Dame, CJ, Carmelo Anthony, and Yusuf Nurkic. Is he still injured?
No, he's playing now.
He's playing, right?
He came back right after the trade deadline.
Yeah, so, that's a great team. They're a great team, and I really don't know why they can't make it out. I have no clue. But it just doesn't work out for them, and I don't know. Usually in those sorts of situations, my only suggestion would be to blow it up. Blow up their team. Like the Orlando Magic, same thing that happened a couple weeks ago. The Orlando Magic blew up their situation last week. Honestly, I don't know if Portland wants to give it another chance, a couple more chances. But if they don't make any significant strides this year and next year, maybe, I don't know. I feel like Dame should try to get out of there as soon as possible. I respect his loyalty, though. That's definitely something that's respectable in the NBA, and people don't do that a lot. Some players. But yeah, honestly, other than that, I wish the Trailblazers the best. I root for them some of the time, but it's just getting boring. You know what I'm saying?
So coming into the 5th seed are the Denver Nuggets. They're 29-18. Little surprising by their record. I thought they would be a little bit better than what their record shows. I know Jamal Murray started off kind of slow in the beginning of the season, but they have a really stacked team. They got Jamal Murray. They got Will Barton. They got Michael Porter Jr., newly acquired Aaron Gordon, and obviously their franchise player Nikola Jokic.
You can never say it.
Whatever. So yeah, the Nuggets. They like I just said, they recently acquired Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon can do a lot for them. He can score for them. He can spread the floor for them. He's basically kind of like a Michael Porter Jr. In a type of way, But just obviously he's a better dunker. He's probably the best dunker in NBA history. But,
yeah, kind of like me.
Okay, back to reality. So yeah, they also acquired JaVale McGee during the trade deadline, so that would help. I know Jokic. Everything that he does offensively, he has some limitations defensively. Guys like maybe Embiid, Anthony Davis, who else? Those are probably the only 2 big men that I can think of right now. Kristaps, can give Jokic a hard time because, Jokic is not, he's not an athletic freak. So that's probably one of his limitations. But obviously Jokic brings a lot to the offense. He's essentially their point guard. And yeah, the Nuggets are the 5th seed, and they'll make the playoffs, and hopefully, they go deep. I know they made it to the third round of the playoffs last year, Western Conference Finals. Obviously, they lost to the Lakers. And one of the biggest flaws in that series was that Anthony Davis, probably the only player that can give Jokic a problem was Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis is essentially like Jokic. Obviously, he's not Anthony Davis is not the Lakers' point guard, but Anthony Davis is essentially a big man with guard skills, because he started off in high school as a point guard, and he didn't lose those skills as soon as he got taller. So I won't be surprised again. I won't be surprised if they make it to the third round or the finals, because their starting five is that good.
Coming in at the 4th seed, we got the Los Angeles Lakers. I said it before. Listen, the Los Angeles Lakers, they're a good team when everybody's healthy. I always joke around and say that the Lakers are, bad. They're this, that. But they're probably one of the best teams in the NBA right now, or they are one of the best teams in the NBA, undoubtedly. LeBron James is there. LeBron James is in the GOAT conversation. Compared to Michael Jordan, maybe even better in my opinion. Then there's Anthony Davis. How Jac said, literally, also a game changer. Literally playing like a point guard, and he's like almost 7 feet. And now they have Andre Drummond, which was a really good pickup for them as well. He's a great rebounder, one of the best in the NBA, obviously. And yeah, they really needed that because the Nets are going crazy on all these acquisitions, and the Lakers can't keep up. Like, obviously LeBron James and Anthony Davis are good, but who's gonna be guarding 5 freaking all-stars, even if some of them are a little bit out of their prime? But again, the thing that I said before about the Los Angeles Lakers, and I'll keep saying it again, is that they don't have any supporting cast really. Last year they had a good team. They had Danny Green, who was great. They had JaVale McGee, who was great. But now Dennis Schroeder he's doing good, but then that Marc Gasol pickup was very underwhelming. It's not performing up to the standards and the expectations, because what the Nets are now is what I expected the Lakers to be when I saw that Dennis Schroeder. I was scared. Like, when I saw Dennis Schroeder and Marc Gasol went over to the Lakers, I was like shivering in my boots. But obviously it hasn't lived up to the expectations, and now LeBron and Anthony Davis are injured, and you could see that they're not doing as good as they would have done. I really wish they would have kept Danny Green. I think that he was a really good player for them, in my opinion. I think that if LeBron James and Anthony Davis come back, they still have a really big chance to even win the championship, no question. I think, honestly, in the end of the day, it's probably going to be the Lakers versus the Nets in the finals, or some sort of combination with the Nets or the 76ers. Probably the Nets. Go Knicks, though. But yeah, obviously Jac has some input on this because the Lakers are his team, and he's crying right now. So, and whatever. So what's up?
The Los Angeles Lakers, my Lakers. I finally get to talk about them. So, when all healthy, our starting 5 for the playoffs, hopefully, should be Dennis Schroeder, KCP, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Andre Drummond. Our bench, who Mike just said we don't have depth, consists of Alex Caruso.
He's good.
THT.
He's alright.
Wesley Matthews.
Alright.
Kyle Kuzma.
Okay, yeah. He's doing great.
Markieff Morris. Okay. Montrezl Harrell. And Marc Gasol. That is our depth. Obviously, we're injured right now. So it is what it is. It's part of the game, Hopefully, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, both LeBron and AD come back. I would assume AD would come back first because he's been out longer. I think he's been out since February 19th. It's already April 1st. So almost April 2nd.
No, it's going to be April 2nd when we post.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So hopefully within the next 2 weeks, AD comes back, and then hopefully around late April, LeBron will come back. But moving forward to the 3rd seed is the Los Angeles Clippers.
Also, just wanted to point out real quick, all the teams surrounding the Lakers in the last 10 games, 8-2, 8-2, 7-3, 7-3, 7-3, and the Lakers are 5-5.
Okay, going back to the Los Angeles Clippers, the Los Angeles Clippers are a joke. I don't consider them a franchise. To me, they're like the New York Mets. Compared to the New York Yankees, they don't belong in Los Angeles. They should move their stupid team to Montana or something.
What are you talking about?
Paul George, playoff P. I love watching playoff P because he doesn't know how to play. That Game 7 against the Denver Nuggets was probably one of the funniest games I've ever seen in my life. So, yeah, that's Paul George. Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi.
He's a beast.
I'm going to keep it PG. I'm not going to keep it rated R. Kawhi can go somewhere. He knows where. He should have picked the Los Angeles Lakers, but no. He decided to pick the Clippers. I don't know who wants to be a Clipper. I don't even know what kind of name a Clipper is. Stupid ass name. But he is a free agent again this offseason. So if they lose again like they did last season, there's like a 40% chance that he would leave. I don't want him because, he picked the Clippers over the Lakers. I don't know what his justification was.
So dramatic.
I don't know what kind of history the Clippers have. They haven't been past the second round in their history of their presence. And, it was fun. It was fun watching the Lakers win the championship last season. Patrick Beverley, I'm going to keep this PG. He can go somewhere too. He can go somewhere too. I remember him laughing in LeBron's face when they signed Kawhi. It's okay. We got away with the ring. Plus, Patrick Beverley will probably be out of the league in a year or two because he sucks. They recently traded for Rajon Rondo. He
could go somewhere too.
No, he won a championship for the Lakers. He did well by us. The only thing with Rondo is like this season he hasn't really been around. He's had like a few nagging injuries, and I think he was out because of COVID also. So we'll see with Rondo. Serge Ibaka, also he was a really good pickup for them, but he's also injured right now. I know he has a back injury, so he's been out for a couple of games. It's something to monitor with him. They also signed Nicholas Batum. He's been a waste. They also signed Marcus Morris to $64 million. That's a waste. Steve Ballmer, I don't know what the hell his problem is. He's always in the stands looking like he's on something every time. Luke, who's that Luke guy? Kennard? Is that him? Yeah, he's a waste too.
He's balling.
Yeah, they paid him like $50-$60 million to come off the bench. And then, the Clippers are the Clippers. They have Ty Lue, who also didn't want to coach the Lakers, so he can go somewhere too. I'm going to keep this PG.
Okay.
And, sucks to suck. So, yeah.
Anyways, in the second seed is the Phoenix Suns. So the Phoenix Suns, honestly, great team. Chris Paul is one of my favorite players. I think I mentioned this before. And when I saw they signed with the Phoenix Suns, I knew that it was clipped. Because I was watching Phoenix Suns in that 8-0 bubble run. I was mad excited for them. I was actually ready for them to go take over the league, beat the Lakers in the first round, and then go off from there. But unfortunately, close game in that play-in tournament, but they lost. But then they've improved so much. Thank that Chris Paul came through, and he really improved that organization. He really was that force that pushed it up. Devin Booker is one of my favorite players as well. He's a really good player. One of the best scorers in the league right now. DeAndre Ayton also amazing. And I like all their role players. Is it Mikal Bridges? Yeah, Mikal Bridges is on that team. Also great player. He's been doing pretty good this season. So I'm really happy for the Suns. They're finally getting some success since Steve Nash left, because like literally after that, Steve Nash, and then after that it was clipped for them because they were right there with the Knicks on that playoff drought. So it's nice to see them having some success. I really hope that they do good in this playoff run that they're gonna have, and maybe they'll dominate the Lakers because everybody will anyways. And yeah, there's not much to say. We'll see the Phoenix Suns. Go Suns.
Okay, I gotta talk about the Utah Jazz. They're currently the first seed in the Western Conference. I think that's a fluke. I can't wait. I can't wait for the Lakers to play them in the playoffs so we can sweep them. Donovan Mitchell is one of my favorite players in the league, so I'm not gonna talk bad about him. You know, he's one of the up and coming young players in our league. If I had to say, he's probably top 3, top 4 shooting guard in the league right now.
Only RJ Barrett is better.
Okay. You know, he's essentially their point guard. The only reason why I say that is because I have him on my fantasy and I see the amount of assists that he puts up sometimes in these games. He sometimes puts up like 7 or 8 assists a game. And so Donovan Mitchell does Donovan Mitchell. The only the negative about him is that he chucks a lot of shots and his field goal percentage is pretty low sometimes. Another player on that team is Mike Conley. Mike Conley, he eases some pressure off Donovan Mitchell in terms of, the point guard position. He can run the offense at times, and he's also a veteran, so he's been around in the league for quite some time. Also, they have Rudy Gobert, who's probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year again. You can make an argument that he's the best defensive player in the league right now as a center. So props to him for being paid $205 million just to rebound the damn ball. Jordan Clarkson probably he will win the Six-Man award this season because he's literally almost averaging 20 points per game off the bench. He's been very good for them, so that's a nice addition for that team. Also, they have Jose Ingles. Is that how you say it?
Joe Ingles.
Oh, I thought it was Joe. I thought it was Jose.
Derek Favors is doing the Utah Jazz some favors.
But I think the Utah Jazz are like the Atlanta Hawks a couple of seasons ago. They're just a regular season team until LeBron sweeps them in the playoffs. Also, the same thing with the Toronto Raptors a couple of years ago. They were just a regular season team, and then the LeBron James came along in the playoffs and swept them. So we'll see with the Utah Jazz. Right now they're proving a lot of teams. They're proving to the league that they're serious, and they are serious. They're 32 and I think 11 or like 35 and 11, somewhere around there. They are the first seed, and right before the All-Star break, they did go on like a 20-game winning streak, which I was very surprised about. And so, I'm not surprised. That team has been around together for a couple of years, just like the Denver Nuggets. They have a lot of chemistry with each other. They've been through a lot of battles in the playoffs, regular season. So I'm not surprised that that they have a winning record. I'm kind of surprised that they are the first seed. I figured that they would be around the third or fourth or maybe fifth seed around there, and I expected the Lakers, Clippers, and the Nuggets to be in the top 3. But obviously, it's not. You never know with the NBA. Injuries, this, that, players not just not starting off the right way. So props to the Utah Jazz, and I wish them luck in the playoffs. And yeah.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming back to another Pass the Mic Sports Podcast episode. We really appreciate you guys watching. If you like the video, make sure to obviously leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share if you're bored as usual. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Jac has a little big news of the week coming up this Tuesday. See you guys there.